Okay, it looks like we're rolling. Hi, greetings. Sorry, the stage is all over the place. It's very flimsy tonight. We're using silk. Okay, Scorpio, before we get into the tarot itself, I just got a few notes for you. I was looking through them very briefly. I just want to add a bit of an astrology flavor, like a side dish, like to give you a little bit of perspective instead of just diving straight into the tarot. We don't really need astrology to do the tarot, but people seem to find it very useful, so we're just going for it. I'd like you to add some dates to your calendar. Coming out at the very tippy end of June, we have June 27th, the Cancer Capricorn full moon. Very harmonious for you, okay? Very supportive for you. Cancer Capricorn energies are very supportive for you, Scorpio. Next, July the 12th, it is the big fat Cancer new moon eclipse. Sun and moon both in Cancer, okay? Next, full moon eclipse. Leo Aquarius, July 27th. The moon is in Aquarius, the sun is in Leo. It's an eclipse, okay? Pay attention, people, okay? Full moon, we just did that. And then stretching this way out into early August, we have the Leo new moon eclipse. So why is this important for you guys? Well, it's not directly to do with love and relationship. There's the, hold on. Let me just do this quickly for you. You can see here, this is really nothing to do with love and relationships at all. Here it is, July the 12th, the Cancer new moon eclipse, sun and moon in Cancer. It's happening up there for you, Scorpio, in your 9th house. Foreign travel, wisdom, expanding your consciousness, getting a much broader perspective with the planet around you, a higher sense of connection with the great beyond, which would feel to you like wisdom, greater knowledge, perhaps a sense of new adventure, new life unfolding for you as an old lifestyle passes away. That's great. Okay, fine. There's going to be a lot of Cancer Capricorn eclipses in 2019. So for now, let's focus on the tail end of the Leo Aquarius eclipses. Why are these quite significant for you, Scorpio, even though this has nothing to do with love and relationship? Well, because it's in a hard square. Let me get one of my pens. This eclipse, just in terms of the sign, there's the Leo, there's the Aquarius. This is like in a hard T-square to you. Imagine a hard T-square right here. So why does that affect you so much? Because we're talking about career, the public, out in the great beyond, your place in this world, your mission. And over here, we're talking about the foundations of your life, your home. So it looks to me, looking at this with these eclipses, we're looking at foreign travel, new locations, moving, leaving one home, moving into another home. How does your home life affect your career? How does your career impact your home life? And all of that is happening simultaneously. And that can have a ripple effect on your love life here, 5th house, or your marriage area over here, 7th house. So we just wanted to add that for a little bit of flavor. Okay, I'm not going to go into this in depth at all. It's just there. I'm just going to set that over there for you. We may come back to that. I don't know. Cards were well shuffled in advance. We're just going to go for it. I want to make some extra room here in case we get overexcited about things. We're going to use the Crucible spread. It's the Tarot Lumination Crucible spread for you, Scorpio, on the understanding that you're in a chosen situation with a significant other, and there's the third entity itself called a relationship. There's you, Scorpio, a significant other, and a third entity, the relationship. And in a truly loving relationship, both parties are aware of the relationship itself and that it has its own meaning, purpose, and identity. And both parties conduct themselves through the relationship as opposed to face, like, what can I get out of you? Well, what are you trying to get out of me? Type of energy. You'll see in just a moment. Now, you know the routine. If you've been here before, watch your sun, moon, and rising. Like, that's the convention with tarot channels. So that's what we're doing too. Why not? It seems to work. And again, especially if it's all different, sun, moon, and rising. If they're all different, watch all three. And you can also cross-watch for your loved ones too, if you want. Give you some deeper insight into the dynamics of your relationships. Okay, now singles too. You can even watch this if you want, if you allow for the laws of attraction in action, okay? Remember, you're always radiating, transmitting the energy, including love and relationship. And if you're not directly involved right now, those signals still attract a response out there. So over here, this energy could be the energy of what if, a significant other. What would they be like? Who would be they'd be like if they showed up, or if they might show up down the road. Okay, let's just go for it. Okay. Oh, also another thing I wanted to mention on the Cancer new moon eclipse, that even though it's nothing to do with your directly with love and relationship, it's very harmonious for you. The Scorpio Cancer energy is very harmonious, and Scorpio, like along with the Cancer and Pisces, you've been enjoying these big fat water trines going on for many days now. I'm not sure how long it's going to linger into July, but it's certainly very supportive for you. Okay, so let's cut it up. Bring your angels here. Okay, bring your team, and we'll make this a team effort. Tarot Illumination does everything possible to make this a team effort, so it isn't just TL sitting here across the screen from you. It's a team thing, okay? We've got a whole team here focusing through this little environment, and we're inviting, it makes it much richer if you can bring your team in to soak up the energy with you. Then you can reinterpret things more easily later on. Here's your energy that you're radiating. Here, that's the love energy, okay? And over here is the reciprocal energy, okay? Over here, deep inside of you, what are you radiating? Over here, deep inside of the other. Over here, the relationship itself. So here you can see the crucible. This is the structure in which you are conducting your relationship. A crucible is a very strong structure that can withstand the tremendous pressures that occur in relationships as we just naturally intimate and separate, as we intimate and separate all day, every day, sometimes for extended periods. Whoa, whoa, huggy, 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 smooch, smooch, close, close. Sometimes back and forth, and all sorts of variations on the theme of intimacy and separating and intimacy. Over here, prospects and momentum. Okay, and because you think of this as something that is alive, that it has a flow, like a movie that's unfolding. Okay, let's have a look at circumstantial energy, weather, if I'd like to call it. So the Two of Wands here, I think this is very, very much to do with the Cancer new moon eclipse. Let me show you. I'm going to go back to this. The Cancer new moon eclipse, right in the middle of the month, July 12th, okay? It's a very, very strong energy of indicating leaving old pastures behind and getting a glimpse of new pastures unfolding in front of you. Foreign lands, foreign travel, new cities, new homes, new places to go, new adventures unfolding in front of you, some way, somehow. And it looks like you're getting a glimpse of that to the point where there's enough perception, there's enough clarity, there's enough imagery coming into you that you can actually start to see the landscape unfolding. Well, I guarantee by the end of the month, things like that are going to happen. And especially in 2019, it's going to be a very, very strong emphasis on the Cancer-Capricorn axis, which is going to include that energy of foreign that we were just talking about. Foreign lands, travel, new vistas. What are you radiating right now? Okay. Well, this is very comforting. I think this, to me, this is an indication that somewhere inside of you, you're very aware of the good vibrations that are working for you right now, and you're taking full advantage of it. It's almost like you're doing anything and everything you can to deliberately disengage from anything and everything that is not included in what you feel is defined as love in your life. In other words, once you define, if you don't have any kind of definition, it would help you, Scorpio, if you could come up with a definition of What does love mean for you in your life now? Because big shifts are going to happen in your life anyway, and that will have an impact on your love and relationship, okay? These eclipses are a big deal. They're significant. They will be life-changing in some way. So you might as well understand that. It looks like you already do, but I'm trying to add some definition and clarity here because it could be very rocky in some ways, like home and career, career and home, new locations, new missions, new purposes. What does that mean for you, and how does that affect your love life? Okay, all of those things tie in together, but it looks like you're on top of it. You're already seeing opportunities ahead for you, grabbing them. Look, you don't necessarily have any master plan right now, but it's definitely the indication that new journeys ahead are unfolding, and it's inspiring for you to the point where it literally fires up the the heart. In other words, to me, it feels like heart energy is pulsing and rich and strong and fluid enough to make a very, very simple choice. Like, actions speak louder than words, Scorpio. So you can talk all you want, but ultimately it's about what are you doing and how are you doing it. And to me, this is an indication that you are deliberately choosing to walk into a loving environment, a new lifestyle, a new home type environment, perhaps uh, away or far away from where you are right now, where the core number one emphasis is love, where that is the number one paramount priority in your life now. Anything and everything else is secondary. Obviously, health is important. Without the health, there's nothing. But things like careers and homes, yeah, it's important. Money, very important. Obviously, these things. Your health, yes, we already said that. The type of relationship, what does you expect? All those kind of things. But ultimately, number one priority is the actual love itself. Focusing and amplifying all your energies that would have been dissipated and wasted in all sorts of other activities, and making number one priority love. The love in your life, the love of your life, and the relationship itself. Making this relationship a number one priority for you, Scorpio. Taking advantage of these eclipses rather than being swept along randomly. So what are they radiating? Oh, so it looks like they're in a point of red alert here. So please understand, like Scorpio, this is not the end of the world for you or the end of the world for them. It just indicates that there might be a triangulated situation, which makes things very awkward for you, Scorpio. It might mean that a significant other here is, let's say, wrestling with their own inner turmoil to the point where if you look at them or think of them as a vehicle, if you think of their physical body as a vehicle for their heart, as a vehicle for their soul, vehicle for their passion, they're literally the blood that's pumping in and around through their life. There is some potential conflict here. It's like the red light is flashing in your car, okay? Beep, 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 beep. There's a red alert going on here where it needs to be understood, acknowledged. It doesn't mean it's necessarily good or bad, but typically when this energy is flashing, that means there is a problem that needs to be addressed and understood, and it looks like they're fully aware of it. And so, in other words, if this energy is here and you're not aware of it, that would be a very serious problem. But the fact that this red alert is like shining very, very brightly right now, and they are aware of it, in some ways that's good news, because maybe they need this love. Maybe they need the love that you're bringing to them in order to resolve or solve or heal the damage that they have either been carrying or that they are enduring in some way, shape, or other. And they might be fully aware that the healing of one thing means the breaking of another. We don't know what's happening with them. For all we know, the eclipses are completely shaking up their life and their world in such a way that this becomes a very prominent theme for them. We don't know. You could do your cross-watching if you want to, and figure this out. So don't be scared, Scorpio, for yourself. Don't be scared for them. Just pay very, very close attention to what's going on with them right now. Because if they are showing all the characteristics and signs of someone who is in a very, very, very difficult relationship dynamic right now, that needs to be acknowledged. Okay? What's going on deep inside of you? Let's have a look here. Okay, well, with the Seven of Swords here, my feeling is be extremely careful, Scorpio, because with all your good intentions here, it looks like you could easily get hurt by this because of this. No deliberate harm or intentions involved here, but if there is some kind of duplicity or some kind of like a three-way triangle going on here, where it involves you having to be very stealthy, very careful with your own thoughts, words, actions, and language, that means you, in your own way, are now a participant in this. Perhaps you yourself, Scorpio, are a part of a three-way system here. And which means that there's a part of you which is being extremely, in some ways, perhaps treacherous or devious or very, very stealthy, but it doesn't look like it's deliberate. It looks like the intention and the goal is love, but it does require having to be extremely stealthy and cautious and careful in order to survive this. My feeling is that the eclipses could really shake this up and expose this difficulty in your love life. Let's look at it here. Okay, over here. If the Leo Aquarius eclipses are really shaking things up in your home, your sense of stability and security, your sense of mission and purpose in the world, your courage, your light that you want to shine, and you're kind of going for it, we have to remember that the Leo-Aquarius axis, by definition, is a very challenging, hard square to you. So it's like you're living in the middle of a T-square. It's like this triangle here, this what's called a T-square, is you experiencing the energy of their own triangulation in some way, shape, or form. Because their sense of triangulation might be, let's say it's their own business, because they are involved with you, you're involved with them, whatever's going on with them could affect you in your home and your career, where you live and how you do it. Are you intending to be at home with this person? Are they intending to be at home with you? Are you at home with this person already? Is there a second relationship going on between you guys? Is there any awareness? Are all three parties appraised or not? If they're not appraised and you are deep down are having to be very stealthy, cautious, and careful, be aware that in some ways you are highly vulnerable to getting hurt here. It's almost like being on black ice and you're smiling and all happy about it, not aware of the potential for yourself to get hurt. Not intentionally. I don't see any ill will here. It's just that, Scorpio, when you're dealing with a situation like this, it is easy to get hurt. You could easily end up hurt with no malice intended. They might not mean to hurt you. It's just that when the situation is like this, where something is very tenuous or there's something potentially like hurtful or damaged or damaging, whatever's going on with them, that could affect you deep at the soul level. So to many, there's a little bit of a question of honor here, self-respect and dignity. Part of it is, my feeling is like, be very careful what you say, how you do it, Scorpio. Act in a very, very judicious, very, very cautious manner, because you're dealing with a situation that is very, very delicate, okay? You probably don't like behaving this way. You probably don't like having to act this way. You probably don't like the notion that you might be relating with someone that you love and someone who loves you, but there is this awkward thing here, like the triangulation, for example, where they know they need help. They might need third-party help above and outside what's happening here. Either way, it affects you to the point where you're extremely vulnerable. So all I'm suggesting is be very stealthy, very, very careful about how you conduct yourself going through this period here, especially through July with the eclipses, because it's potentially very much like a chicane, or like it's like walking through a minefield in somewhere where you could easily get hurt without any intention to yourself, without any intention of hurting or being hurt by the other. It's just that the potential here is there's basically a red alert, like watch out, Scorpio. Okay, let's have a look deep down inside of them. Okay, to me it looks like they're doing their best. They're doing more than their best. They're actually really working at whatever is going on with them in their life, in their world, in order to figure out what has to be done. They understand that they are actually a work in progress themselves, and that they might feel as though the reality is that they are not fully understood or accepted in their world, and they do not fully accept and understand certain others in their world. So the issue of being good, supportive, understanding mates, deep down, to me it looks like this is a 3 and this is a 3. Please don't quote me. I don't know much about numerology. But it looks to me, it feels like, as your reader, it feels like this person here is really struggling to figure out what works for themselves primarily, for you, and then the relationship itself. Because it looks like deep down, they're probably extremely aware of their part of this equation, which is potentially very precarious for you and precarious for them. Okay? I don't see a lot of blubbering or weeping going on here. I just see a lot of potential stress because of a very stressful relationship dynamic that might be happening, which might include a triangulated or a third-party situation. So in the third-party situation, what would become apparent at the deep soul level is, are they truly understood and appreciated by their I'm not saying you, but by in their triangulated situation? Where do they belong in this? What is the purpose here? What is it that they are building here? It's like what they want deep down, what they want to be is in a deeply loving relationship where they are deeply understood and accepted by a significant other. Hint, hint, Scorpio coming in with the love. And where they have a deep understanding of their loved one over here. Okay, so it's mutual, deep understanding, and that it is a work in progress. Both parties, like you and them and you, it's the same thing. That's what I'm feeling here for them, is that that's what their soul is working on. That's what they want. And they're perfectly aware of the treachery here, the danger here, the duplicity, the need for stealthiness. They understand that you have to be very stealthy, and they probably don't want you to behave this way because no one likes to behave this way. They would like to prefer to be open and loving, and let's see what happens, okay? So in other words, Scorpio, I'm suggesting please forgive them. Please understand that they're going through some kind of nightmare themselves in their own way, which in some way is not your business. I also understand that it's perfectly okay for you to continue to bring the love, but just be very careful at this deep soul level, because you are so vulnerable going into something that is so potentially dangerous for you, because they might be coming unglued here in their own way, and that's their own business, and they're trying to figure it out in the context of you. In other words, in the context of you guys together. So let's have a look. What's going on at the core here with you, Scorpio? Oh, this is nice. I'm happy to see this for you, Scorpio. To me, this indicates that you are being a very loving person here. And the significant other here is being a very loving person in their own way. But it's very deeply challenging for them to be that way. So it puts a lot of questions on, like, part of it feels like understanding how incredibly fortunate and wealthy you guys are to have what you do have, but also being extremely aware of what is not working here and what has to work, what has to come about here. And so to me, it feels like the issue of it's almost like, how are we going to figure this out? How are we going to figure this out? To me, it looks very mechanical, straightforward, down to earth, practical stuff. And a lot of the pressure is on you, Scorpio, to work with them at the soul level, and they're going to have to work with you at the soul level as well. Regardless, so they're, in other words, they're going to become very much more clear and crystallized about what's wrong, what's not working with them in their love life, which could, again, possibly include another. And you're working with them at the soul level to bring love and understanding so that there's parity, so that there's equality. So that brings the issue of the wealth and abundance that you do have together into prime focus at the core of the relationship here. And then the question is, what do we do now? What do we do now with all the love that we have? In other words, hello, my dear loved one. I could see that you're in a very, very stressful situation, and it means I have to behave and conduct myself very, very stealthily accordingly. I don't want to do this, but I have to. And I love you. I appreciate you. I understand you at the core here. And I know you're struggling with this inside of yourself here, with whatever's going on with you in your love life that is not to do with us, okay? Even though it is to do with us. And they would be saying almost something quite different, but supportive, where, like, deep down, dear Scorpio, person who loves me so much, I am a work in progress. I'm doing everything I can to figure myself out. Please understand and bear with me, because even in my broken condition here, I truly understand that we have something beautiful and valuable, and we need to do something with this. The question is what and how and when and where, okay? So it might mean radical shifts in locations, radical shifts in understandings and belief systems. Some people call it templates of love and life and relationship. In other words, getting much bigger, broader perspective in your life and your world, Scorpio. Let's have a look at the momentum here. Okay, see, with the pentacles here, I'm so glad to see all these pentacles, because it brings a real sense of relief to me. It's like bringing everything down to earth, okay? It almost looks like you're not freaked out by this at all, Scorpio. In other words, to me, it looks like you're doing an extremely good job in a very challenging situation to make the best of this, make the most of this, figure out what has to be done in practical terms. You know, the mechanics, the practicalities of love is as love does. Well, in other words, what would be the best? How can I help you now? What would work for you so that things work for us, so that you don't have to stress like this so much anymore? Tell me what it is. What is it I can do for you? And then you get a response, Scorpio. Well, if this and this and this and this would happen, then so and so and so could happen. So that adds value. Now you understand. Oh, okay. Now I understand. So I'm going to pool my natural Scorpio resources in to make the best of it. So what happens is, it may look to you like there's this, with these eclipses here in July happening, it's almost like you're looking forward to this. I know that sounds really absurd, because this looks potentially very scary, very treacherous, and very dangerous for you, Scorpio, in so many ways. On the other hand, you seem to be very loving and stable throughout all of this, and the relationship itself seems to have some kind of inbuilt stability and understanding about how valuable this is for you, Scorpio, and for your significant other. So the question is, how are you guys going to bring it into balance and harmony? So it looks to me like there's a lot of mutual support going on here between you, Scorpio, and your significant other, where you are seriously extending yourself above and beyond your comfort zones in order to bring what works into a loving relationship dynamic. So you can extract the value, and you can, let's say, exploit what you learn going forward, and just accept and understand that there are going to be big upheavals here. There's no way out of it. It's a hard square. Let's call it a T-square. Let's say that this issue here with home and career and home, is perhaps triggering some anxiety in themselves. Okay? Like, how are they going to conduct themselves as you go through such radical changes yourself? But it looks like it's all going to be brought into harmony and balance in a very nice way, because that's your intention. Your intention is loving. It's very, very deeply loving, okay? So it's almost like you can't go wrong here, even though it looks like it's absolutely treacherous, okay? You're going to be fine, Scorpio. Whatever needs to happen at that moment in time will happen. Whatever generosity needs to come from you towards the other will happen. Whatever generosity and understanding needs to come to the relationship to you from the other will happen. And that would all happen in the context of a very challenging, tricky situation, and the good will still come out of it anyway, simply because the intention is there and the love is there, the desire to be understood and loved is there, and the evidence speaks of it. You know, I just sense comfort here. I sense comfort and stability and harmonizing and balance of like the mechanics of what you guys have. Okay? You'll figure it out, Scorpio. Don't worry. You've got so much love coming in here. Don't worry. You're bringing in so much. And they are going to be fine too. And I think they know that. I think they're kind of depending on you for this to be fine. All right. Thank you so much, Scorpio. All the best. Take care. I hope I didn't scare you or freak you out. Don't be freaked out by this, okay? See this as a golden opportunity to love and be loved.